I'm an avid reader, but I'm also a huge fan of audiobooks. And so in a lot of ways, this was kind of going back to my roots where when I first started out, I just emulated what I had heard growing up, whether it be in car commercials or cartoons or video games. It was the performances or the tone of the voice that always sat well with me. So I just wanted to do that. I wanted to do something that would be a book that I wanted to listen to. This is one of those books that I would pick up in the airport, start reading before we took off, and hopefully finish before I landed because I just would burn through it. I always want a good story. And regardless of whatever medium it's in, if you've got a good story, you've got an audience with me. Tropes are easy. Types are a cheat. Creating character is the real juice. To be able to do that, especially within this genre, where you're not quite sci-fi, you're also a thriller, you're action, but at the root of it, you're actually speaking to something that's very relevant. You have to have a character that the reader, me, can latch onto and believably be and see operating in this world. And if you have a character that's just capable of doing anything, then there are no stakes. So you take Baz Covain and you ground him in tragedy. You give him the opportunity to overcome that, and you put every obstacle you can in his way. And now you've got a character. Now there's actually a story that's being laid out to you. Now there's actually a journey that we have to go on, as opposed to just watching some super badass backflip his way through bad guys. By taking a character like Otto, the foil would be the cheat. We're not so different, you and I. Like that's the cliche. That's the temptation that it's easy to fall into. And what you realize is that is not true. These two could not be more opposite. Here is these two people, the only similarity that they have is that they have a shared trauma, but they are completely going about dealing with that trauma in two different ways. Otto is running towards it, Baz is running from it. They couldn't be more opposite from each other. But the beauty is that it's not just Baz operating in this world by himself. Now he needs a friend. Now he needs a partner. Now he needs someone to confide in. Now he needs someone who knows all of the bad about him, but still stands by him. That's Eddie. Then you get Rhea. Rhea is, to me, one of the most complex characters in the entire story, because here is someone that if there's ever a character that's very similar to Baz, it's Rhea. Both of them have experienced this trauma, and both of them are trying to run from the person that trauma made them. And then, of course, as fate would have it, inexorably they become tied. I always like to do something once a day. You got to do what makes you tremble. And this is one of those things where I don't know if I can do this. Can I pull this off? Have I found the limits of my abilities? And I realize this isn't live radio. We've got the ability to work together as a team and create something that we're all going to be proud of, and that ultimately the reader's going to be like, that was a very immersive way to experience the story. But man, is it fun along the way to just be reading, and all of us would be caught up in the story and then realize that we're just these characters are so real and palpable that flipping through the voice becomes a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So it's more of a testament to James' writing than it is, I think, my abilities as an actor. I found through this process that a narrator is almost like a camera. If it draws attention to itself, if it pulls focus for the viewer, then it's not really doing its job. And it can be done as a stylistic choice, but the things that I prefer to pull from are those where my guide, whether it be the camera or whether it be the narrator, is almost kind of whispering in my ear and staying out of the way as much as possible, so that the story is really what's out in front, and these characters talking to each other and what they're experiencing is really on display. And so talking with the team, it became, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking and what I want to do not only as someone who's reading the book and is serving the purpose of that function, of that narrator for this, but also just as an actor, that's what I like to do. If I don't believe that I can put myself in Baz's shoes or Ria's shoes or Eddie's shoes or even Otto's shoes, that I'm not really doing my job as an actor. To be able to view that character and inhabit that character without judgment and just experience them for a second through the safety of narration is actually a wonderful exercise as an actor, because infusing my own judgment on a character can prevent me as an actor from displaying who that character really is trying to be beyond my own prejudice. What does this future look like? How far can we extrapolate the possibilities of what AI will look like as a part of our culture? It already is. So what does it look like 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now? Who are we as a people because of that? And I think being able to talk about that and pull the fear away allows us to make better decisions, because any decision that is made out of fear is typically a mistake in the making. And I think instead, rather being able to be informed, discuss. This is one of those books where I want people to read it and then go, have you read this book? Because I need to talk to somebody about it. I need to know what I look like. And it's fun. It still gives us the safe distance to be able to have these conversations in a very still hypothetical form. But ultimately, I think it is a conversation that we have to have. What do we look like as we approach the singularity? What does it look like when these machines that we have relied on for so long no longer rely on us, and we are really, really reliant upon them? What happens? What do we look like? And I think it's as much of a technological question as it is a philosophical question. So for me, it's the conversation. At the end of the day, that's all that I hope that we can spark with people. If we can entertain you for 10 hours, great. But if we can plant a seed and have you question some things, and discuss some things, and start a conversation about these things, then I think that we've really done what we really set out to do.